Aloha and welcome to the Kupunawiki radio show. This month we are talking about health and wellness, and in the studio we have Trinh of FunctionWorks Fitness. Kupunawiki is Hawaii's senior resource. We talk to the best local professionals in the state regarding topics such as real estate, senior housing, estate planning, finance, and health, so our Kupunan families can find the best resources in the midst of a life transition. We strive to make sure our seniors are informed and supported every step of the way. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Brandon Lau.
And I'm Andrew Leon,
your host for the Kupunawiki radio show.
Our title sponsor for today is Trinh Choice Advisors, providing you with the best real estate information so you can make the most informed decisions. As they like to say, real estate is about choice. To contact them, call 808-753-9033.
And now we have our real estate tip of the week brought to you by Trinh Choice Advisors.
You may love the tropical weather, majestic views of the mountains and beaches, and a lone spirit, but still not be convinced that Hawaii is the right place to invest. Well, if these weren't reasons enough, here are reasons that you may want to consider when purchasing Oahu real estate. Number 1, a high rate of appreciation for your property's value. Number 2, a high demand for property. Number 3, a stable pricing due to limited inventory. Number 4, stable rental rates. And number 5, enjoying a tax write-off in paradise.
For more information on investing in Hawaii, contact Trinh Choice Advisors, 753-9033. Well, again, today in the studio, we welcome back Trinh of FunctionWorks Fitness. Welcome, Charles.
Hi, Brandon. Thanks for having me.
It's always good to have you on the show.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, I know you have a new one in your household, so you must be having a lot of changes, a lot of energy that you have to exert to care for this little one, and how is that affecting your fitness?
It's actually very challenging because now, because I have my son, I have to kind of change my workout routine around.
Okay.
So normally I would work out in the afternoons or in the late mornings, but if I want to get a workout in now, I have to wake up before everybody else does to get my fitness
before the
in.
sun comes up.
Yeah, and I don't like waking up early.
Well, I have to do the same thing. It's either early morning or after we put him down for bed.
Yeah.
You just fit it in there.
Yeah.
But you got to get it in.
Yes.
Right. Now, I do want to talk this session about how we can get people motivated to exercise, and in particular, kupuna. I go to the gym a few times a week, and I do see them when I go in the early mornings.
Yeah.
I see them out there either by themselves, maybe in a pair, or sometimes with a trainer.
Yeah.
And they're doing their exercises, getting in shape. Of course, that's early morning. When I go later in the day, I hardly see any kupuna out there. And I'm assuming there's certain times that work best for them. But I'm wondering, what could we do to help kupuna be more active and to want to exercise and do strength training?
I think one of the really important things with getting kupuna to work out is to make it an environment where, they're exercising, but at the same time, it's more of a social thing for them as well. Because, everybody wants to belong and be a part of a group.
Right.
And I think if our kupuna could go and find these groups where everybody is in the, same level and, they can make new friends and they can work out together, I think that's how they can go and have everlasting change in their fitness versus doing it by yourself. Because if you're doing it all on your own, like for all of us, right, none of us can be successful just on our own.
Right.
We need help from others, right? And for some people, that help was basically being in a community of like-minded individuals that want to go and work out together.
That's a good point. Because you can encourage each other, you can
Yes.
keep each other accountable, and if you're one of those who gets bored,
Yeah.
it'll be a little more fun.
Yeah.
So, what are some thoughts? There are certain types of exercises that would be conducive to this group setting, or maybe certain places or gyms. Anything that comes to mind for you?
So depending on what the kupuna is looking for, if they're looking for more one-on-one personal training, or I think semi-private training would probably be best for individuals like that. And the reason why is because in one-on-one training, obviously it's just you and the trainer. But in a semi-private setting, what it is, there's a trainer with, maybe like 3, 4, 5 other people, and the trainer can go and individualize the exercises for each individual. But one thing I kind of caution against is doing like big group exercises. So meaning like there's 15, 20, 30 people in the class, because we have to understand that as we age, what happens is our body kind of, I hate to say this, it starts kind of breaking down, right? And, if you're in a big group and everybody's doing like the same exercise and it's not being tailored to your
particular
yes,
needs.
your particular needs in your body, you could hurt something, So that's one thing I would want to have the Kupuna understand is there's different types of training. There's one-on-one, semi-private. That's basically a small group, or you have like your large group where you see in your typical big box gyms.
Right. So you do a lot of training, both individual and semi-private.
Yes.
Right. And it sounds like you enjoy the semi-private environment.
Yeah. So a lot of the Kupuna that work out with me, they're pretty much for life, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
You're their guy.
Yeah. So like they're the ones. They enjoy the culture that we've built up. So we work in small groups. Everybody is basically friends. They'll get their exercise in, and we'll talk story about random things during their rest breaks and whatnot.
And then you have to remind them to get back to work.
Yeah.
It's not all fun and games. So when you first start off with, let's say, a semi-private group, how do you do your assessment to kind of tailor it to the people who are there? I mean, do you actually talk story first and then just get feedback? How do you do that?
Yeah, so normally what happens is I'll try to go and put an individual in a group where their fitness levels are very similar. And like with all like training, we're building a relationship, right? I'm trying to get an understanding of how your body moves and how it functions. So I take them through very basic movements, right? And when I take them through these movements, I kind of go and watch to see, when they're squatting, are they squatting like more with their knees, or they're able to bend their hips more, or is there some kind of shift of their pelvis, which is something we don't want, because if they're shifting their weight when they're squatting and I'm loading them up, that can predispose them to like low back issues and stuff like that, right? So I kind of go and watch how they move, and from there, like I'll start tweaking things around. And for some individuals that need it, I'll do an individualized assessment. So I'll do like movement screens and whatnot. Yeah.
Well, Charles, for those of you who haven't heard you before, maybe you can share a little bit about your certification and your background. We noticed some of the technical language you're using, like loading up and all these things. So tell us a little bit about that.
So I've been basically in the health and fitness industry since like 2001. And I have my bachelor's and my master's degree in exercise science. And I'm a licensed massage therapist, and I actually also teach at Kapilani Community College as well. So right now I teach trigger point therapy and sports massage.
At KCC?
At KCC.
Wow, you're a busy guy. But it's good to stay in that teaching environment too, because you're always learning.
Yes, and that's exactly why I do it. Is I just really enjoy teaching people.
Right. Well, Charles, when we come back, I want you to share a little more detail on some of the exercises that you do with your clients, and also what are some things Kupuna can do at home.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that right after this commercial break.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we have Charles Trinh of FunctionWorks Fitness. And in the first segment, we just touched upon, some of the things that that can help seniors with, their movement and getting active. But I wanted to just dive into some of the exercises. And we can touch upon some of the things that the common exercises that seniors can do at home. But before that, we're in a radio station, and in the studio, it's hard for seniors to see us because we're just talking. But if you can just describe the type of exercises that your most popular ones, I guess, most common ones that you like to do with your clients, and then of course, what other exercises that seniors can do at home, just to stay, just to stay mobile, and not, having to actually go to a gym to get that fitness in.
Okay. So for all of my seniors, my goal is to go and progress them up to single leg strength exercises.
And what is that? What is single leg strength exercise?
So basically, like, you know, like all of us, we climb upstairs, right?
Okay.
So think of climbing upstairs, but instead of doing one step at a time, we're stepping on something that's maybe elevated 18 inches, 25 inches, you know, so something higher. And the reason why I'm a really big proponent of developing that single leg strength is because if you think about it, how do we move around? We walk, right? And you know, 85% of the time we're standing on one leg. And so because of that, we have to have a lot of good leg strength. And a lot of times, you know, our kupuna, like, they'll go and they'll fall down because there's like a puddle, or they might slip and whatnot. And so, you know, they start kind of looking for like classes that teach them balance and, you know, fall prevention classes, you know. And for me, I feel it's not so much like going and standing on one leg as doing balance exercises. If you really want to prevent falls, you need to go and get your leg strong. And by that, I mean getting that one leg strong. Because for a lot of you, I'm sure when you have stepped in a puddle or you're about to go and slip, you'll notice that leg that's actually moving kind of stiffen up and everything just tightens up. And for us, if we start lacking that single leg strength, what happens then is that's when we're going to give out, and that's when we're going to fall and break something, right? So for me, my goal is to try to get them to get that single leg to be strong enough where if there's all of a sudden something just kind of moves out from under them, they're able to stiffen up and prevent themselves from falling. So it's not so much like, oh, I'm just going to take this class and half the time I'm just standing on one leg and, you know, trying to touch my nose with my hand and stuff like that, right? So yeah, that's balance, but that doesn't help you or prevent you from falling down.
You mean not even if they teach you to tuck and roll?
Yeah, no, not even that. Like, you know, they have, you know, some classes where in these fall prevention classes, they'll teach you how to roll like you know, one of these black belts in judo and whatnot. And to be honest, to be able to roll to the point where you're not going to get injured, it takes a lot of time and a lot of training. And if chances are, if you're a kupuna and you're pushing 80, 90 years old, you know, maybe your bones might not be as strong. And if you think about it, do we really want to go and tumble on the floor if we already have bones that are brittle? So then the thought is, well, how can I get the most bang for my buck and for my time? And that's by getting strong. You know, and getting strong, you don't need to join a gym, you could just work out at home, right? And there's ways that we can progress the individual to doing that single leg strength exercises, you know. So I don't recommend anybody listening to this to go and start stepping on like elevated platforms and whatnot. I always recommend that you do it under the supervision of a qualified trainer, because, you know, there's times when, like, you know, you might get dizzy, you might have vertigo, or you might have some kind of orthopedic condition that prevents you from doing stuff like this. So it's always very important to go and be supervised when you're doing exercises like this.
Can you share what are some of the exercises that can help with the leg strength?
Yeah.
Strengthen your legs.
So when an individual first comes to me, what I do is I always work on their squatting, right? So depending on the individual and how, I guess, tight their ankles and hips are and whatnot, like, it kind of determines how low they can actually go, right? So sometimes I might just make them sit down in a chair, yeah. So, you know, you can just sit down in the chair and stand up if that's too easy for them. Eventually what I do is I'll make them go and hold a weight, right? So I make them go and hold a weight, and they'll start doing X amount of reps that I tell them to, and then they have a certain amount of time that they're resting for. And then after that, once they get really good at that, so let's say they can go and, you know, squat, you know, because some of the people that I work with, like, they're, you know, in their 60s, 70s, and they're squatting like 35 pounds, like 50 times, you know. So
That's amazing.
50
I know.
I don't
reps.
think I
You
can
know?
do that.
So they're doing stuff like that. So if they can, and not everybody should be doing that, right? So eventually, what happens is once they have that prerequisite strength level in just basic squatting, I'll go and I'll make them do lunges, right? So I make them do reverse lunges. I like reverse lunges more because it takes off the stress on the knee compared to doing a forward lunge. Okay, so I make them do reverse lunges, and I'll alter the lunge in such a way that more weight will be on that front leg. So it's more of a staggered stance where they're lifting more of their body weight on one leg. Once I start getting them comfortable with that and I load them up, and when I feel they're ready, I'll make them do step ups on a box. Yeah, and then from there I'll also load them up with weight too.
Do you do this for a lot of your clients, or is it standard, like a standard
It's pretty standard, yeah.
program for
Yeah.
them?
So the only reason why I wouldn't go and do it is if they have any kind of orthopedic problems, or if they're suffering from like some kind of issue where like they lose their balance and everything. So like they have vertigo or whatever it is, and those types of people they'll always have 2 feet on the ground.
Right.
So it just kind of depends on the individual.
But of course, in your initial assessment, you already know whether or not it's going to be an issue.
Yes.
And so you can modify
Yeah,
the
and then they
exercise.
always tell me too, because sometimes people will come in and they're like, I'm feeling kind of dizzy right now from like the last couple of days, and then like knowing that, I'll adjust the exercises accordingly.
So it sounds like a lot of your initial exercises are dealing more with the legs.
Yes, because that's the foundation.
It's your foundation.
Yeah.
And then would you switch into the upper body after a period of time, or?
Yeah. So actually, what I'll also do is depending on what we have planned for the day, sometimes we'll do upper body and lower body, or if I really got them good for one workout, like let's say one workout we did our legs really well, then I'll let them rest for the next workout, and then we'll just do upper body. Yeah.
So you give them a break.
Yeah.
Well, you're a nice trainer.
But always full body exercises. So
Right.
very rarely do I do any isolation type exercises.
And how long would you recommend this workout strength training session be?
So ideally, it's like 2 times a week, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah, so that's 2 times a week is the sweet spot from my experience and from what I kind of researched. Because if you start doing anything more than that, like you're not going to recover, and then you might set yourself up for overuse injuries and whatnot. Yeah.
In my running or training for running, there's 2 things that you do in running. You're either racing or you're recovering.
Yeah.
Right? So I imagine the same might be in exercise.
Mm.
You're either recovering,
Yeah.
right? Maybe stretching or eating right,
Yeah.
getting ready for the next time that you're going to have your session.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you help them as well? And what are some best practices in the recovery phase?
So normally for the recovery, depending on the group I work with, like I also work with athletes, right? So for the athletes, they'll do like their main strength training exercise, and then like during their break, I'll go and make them stretch out a particular muscle group, right? So, but for the seniors, normally we just kind of hang out and we just kind of talk, and they talk about recipes, and they'll share recipes and like real fun stuff like that.
Yeah. So you typically like to do it in groups, semi-private,
Yeah.
twice a week,
Yeah.
and this goes on, I guess, year-round for you,
Yeah.
right? When is a good time to start exercising? I know the classic answer is yesterday,
Yeah.
but how do you see? I think part of it is the mindset.
Yeah.
Right? How do you get ready to get ready? And
I think like in anything, you just gotta go and do it. The Nike slogan, "Just do it."
right,
I think it's genius. Because like a lot of times what holds us back in anything in life is because we're stalling, we're holding back, if you go, like if you want to start a YouTube channel, right? And then you're like, oh, I'm afraid of what everybody's going to think about me, I'm going to look stupid.
Right.
You just gotta just go and do it.
and I think that's part of the issue is the intimidation factor.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go into a regular big box gym where you have a lot of younger people who are pulling big weights and doing extreme exercises. I mean, they may not feel comfortable in that environment.
Yeah, and I know exactly how these people would feel, because even for me, when I go into these big box gyms, I'm kind of like, oh man, they're gonna see how much they want to see how much I'm benching or squatting, and it's like, yeah. So I always recommend, like, if you don't feel comfortable in whatever workout setting you're in, don't go shop around.
Right.
Don't force yourself to do something you don't enjoy.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the question a lot of other people may have about exercise is, you have aerobic exercise,
Yes.
which is good for your respiratory,
Yes.
and then you have strength training.
Yes.
Right. So, what do you recommend, and in what proportions should it be done?
So, for me, I think ideally resistance training is the way to go. Strength training is the way to go. And people are like, oh, but what about your cardio? You can actually go and get your cardio done by, altering like the amount of like reps that you're doing for a particular workout. Because I guarantee, like for all of us in here, if I made you guys do like 20 or 30 squats as fast as you can, you're going to be breathing hard. Right? Yeah.
Or hopefully we're still breathing.
Yeah.
So you get that, it's kind of like a compounding effect.
Yes,
Right? When
and
you're doing strength training.
And one thing I want to add is, when I was in graduate school, one of our research projects was to figure out what is the best form of exercise you could do, right? So there's like, yoga, Pilates, biking, swimming, all those different modalities, right? And every single person in my class, we all came to the same conclusion, and that's resistance training. Because you can go and develop flexibility with resistance training if you're going through a full range of motion. You can get your cardio going. You can go and build your bone mineral density. If you look at all these other different modalities, you don't get all of these different things. So resistance training is the way to go. And I guarantee that if all the benefits of resistance training and exercise was in a pill, every single person would be taking it, because it really is the fountain of youth. Yeah, and it's never too late to start.
Right. So if somebody, Charles, wanted to make use of your services, how can they reach you, and what's the best way that you like to start a person in their training?
So if they want to contact me for more information, my phone number is 808-779-1604. Again, that's 808-779-1604. And just give me a call, and if I don't pick up for whatever reason, just leave a message. Very, very important to leave a message, because there's so many people doing these scam calls and stuff like that now. Like, you never know, right?
And how about a website?
And my website is www.functionworksfitness.com.
Okay. So you can actually have people come over to your gym,
Yeah.
right? Or you can go to them possibly.
Yeah. So it just really depends on what the needs are.
Right. And some people would say, well, I just want to try it. It may or may not be for me.
Yeah.
So if you have that kind of mentality, what's your recommendation? I mean, they got to give it at least 3 months, 6 months.
So I think for most people, to really start seeing the benefits of the resistance training, they got to give it at least, like, I say 3 months at the minimum. Yeah, but definitely within a year. I mean, everything is cumulative. Like, you're starting to slowly build, It's kind of like a person who loses like 50 pounds. They don't see a difference in themselves, because they're always like looking in the mirror when they go to a bathroom or when they're driving,
Right.
but everybody else around them sees the difference. So one thing that a lot of my kupuna tell me is that whenever they go on vacations, they tell me, oh, I can lift my suitcase and put it over in the
Overhead
the
compartment.
overhead compartment, and
Yeah, that's a big deal, man.
Oh, yeah.
Because if not, you don't got it. There's no space.
yeah, and they're walking up these stairs and all these things, and they really tell me, like, training with me has really improved their lives. Yeah.
Traveling, especially if you go to Vegas 4 times a
Yeah.
year, right? Interestingly, you also do athletic training,
Yes.
right? Do you have kupunas that come into your gym?
For athletics?
Yeah.
No, not really. It's just more just to improve the quality of their life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We had on our show the other week Ruth Heydrich, and she's 80 plus years old, but she's still running.
Yep.
Amazing. So, in fact, I just saw on the news, I guess the oldest marathon runner in the world is 106.
Oh wow.
So you're never too old.
Never, yeah.
So as Charles would recommend, just do it.
Just do it.
Get out there, get some exercise.
Yeah.
And one more time, how can they reach you in case they needed your fitness training?
Okay, so my phone number is 808-779-1604. And my website is www.functionworksfitness.com, or you could also find me on the Kupunawiki website as well.
That's great. Well, Charles, thank you so much for coming back in. That's
Thank
Charles
you.
Trinh of FunctionWorks Fitness. And coming up next, we have our Kupunawiki Classic Trivia.